Okay, Shalom Reb Shlomo. South Africa was gewaldig. They're very nice people there. The MS. They're Litvische. It's a Litvische Kehila. Yeah. Tikkun Leil was from 9 to 6. 9 to 6:30. 9 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. I'm sorry? I gave like about 8-9 shirim. And the whole altogether about 15 shirim. But they're used to slaves, so it's okay. Okay, just a joke. That's a joke. The mamish, the Edelkeit from the was something very, very. The Eretz there. It's hard to explain it. It's miyuchad. Were you ever there in Michal? Were you ever in South Africa?
I was there in the winter. Very nice.
Yeah.
Joburg and Cape Town.
And Cape Town. Oh, what? I'm sorry. They live in their bubble. They have their own security. Whatever the government doesn't do, they supplement. The government gives electricity only for 17 hours a day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So, whatever. So they have their supplements. Yeah, they pave their own roads if there's a need. Forget about the government. The government is not baruch for anything. So they're Muslim, but they live in their bubble. It's in a bubble. Okay, the question: does everybody have a sheet? Everyone has a sheet. Okay. So we'll start. Chavah. Bayom Hasheni Hikriv Nisanu Ben Tzur Nasi Yisachar in Max Aleph. הקריב את קורבנוי כרס כסף אחד 30 ו100 משקלה מזרק אחד כסף 70 שקל בשקל הקודש שניהם מלאים סוילס בלולה והשמן למנחה. Right, we all know these psukim by heart. So here Rashi says כרס כסף minyan oisi yosef begimatya tov kuf lamed. If you add up the words כרס כסף, I added up the letters. I went through it. It's 930. Keneged shnoisav shel Adam Arishon. Those were the years the Adam Arishon lived. And then Rashi goes on saying that the word, whatever, there's a gematria of 500. Keneged Noach that was Mami Tolodus. Rashi goes, it comes out that there's a lot of gematrias here, bringing out the Sodus HaOlam. So the Maral says in Max Gimel, Ve'im Toimar. Why in the Mishkan are you mentioning Adam and Noach? V'yesh lo'ima, ki meleches ha-Mishkan shakul kamo brias ha'olam. The avodah, building the Mishkan, the malach of the Mishkan, is equal to creation of the world. V'kol davar shaya bebrias ha'olam haya b'meleches ha-Mishkan. Whatever was in one is found in the other. Hayuba Mishkan Yiriyos. How would you say Yiriyos in English? I'm sorry? Curtains? Okay. Kamo b'chlal o'ilam anoit hashamayim k'yiriyah. Ukamo sha'kochavim nirim, just like there's stars in the sky, kacha krosim nirim b'mishkan. Those are the hooks. Kamo she'dor she'ozah b'met hashab rabbis. It's Chazal. Ulefikach kol yesodei ha'olam. All the foundations of the world, Shehem Adam, Noach, Shibim Umois, V'Torah, V'Aseres Adibres. These are all things hinted later on in what Rashi will say. Shekol ha'olam oimed alem, that the whole world is standing upon them. Nirmezu b'Mishkan, were hinted in the Mishkan. Ledamis Mishkan al klal ha'olam, to make this comparison of the Mishkan to the whole world. Fine. What does it mean when I say the Mishkan is a world? Like, what's the message here? The Mishkan is the world, and therefore they're so similar and parallel that whatever is found in the world is found also in the Mishkan. What's the nekuda of this? So I just want to read with you what the Refutas says on that. He brings it out in a very gishmak way. He named meets in Baksdalit. He named mitzvah shvisas Shabbos. נתפשרנו בתואר שכל עצמה אינה אלא העמדת עצמנו בדוגמה שמעלה. It's like really the first mitzvah to emulate Hashem. כשם שהכתיב כביכול על עצמו השביס ביום השביעי, just like HaKadosh Baruch Hu dictated to himself rest on the seventh day, כמו כן הכתיב לנו את השביסה. We also have to follow. ואם כן, הרי יש כאן סתירה בולטת בעצם תוכן השביס שלנו. There's a clear contradiction here. שהרי שביסה יסבורך הייתה במלאכת שמיים וארץ. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rested and ceased from creating heaven and earth. ואילו בשביתתנו אנו, when we're at Shabbos and Shabbos, אין השביתה נגדרת כאן במלאכת שמיים וארץ. It has nothing to do with the creation of heaven and earth. אלא המבחן של השביסה היא שביתה ממלאכת המשכן. ואם כן, הרי נוטל משביתתנו עיקר עצמותה. תלו עיקר עצמותה של שביתתנו אינה אלא העמדת עצמנו בדוגמה של מעלה. ואיך היא הדוגמה של מעלה בשביסה מלאכת המשכן? Meaning the whole point of Shabbos is to emulate Hashem. But how are we emulating him? Hashem rested from the creation of the world, and we're resting from building a Mishkan. Is that parallel? Is that similar? And the whole point of Shabbos is do what he did, or don't do what. I mean, when he didn't do anything, you shouldn't do anything. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu stopped from creation of Shemayim Ba'aretz, and we are stopping from Malachas that built the Mishkan. Is that the same thing? Shemayim Ba'aretz and Mishkan? Muslim Zogan, you have to say yes. How are they the same thing? So that's what he's going to answer. V'yesh loymar. כשאנו אומרים שהקדוש ברוך הוא ברא שמיים וארץ, אין אנו מבחינים בזה על הבחנה אחת. והיא כי הקדוש ברוך הוא ברא בשבילנו מקום עבודה לשמו יזבח. כי בשבילנו אין העולם אלא מקום לעבדו יזבח. ולא גם כל עסקנו בבניין המשכן לא היה אלא כמקום לעבודו יזבח. If you look at the whole world as a מקום עבודה, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the whole world for his avodah, so then the whole world is one big mishkan. Now it makes sense, the comparison. The world is a makom avodah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created for us, and the mishkan is a makom avodah that we created for us. But intrinsically, they're the same thing. Only if I look at the world as a makom avodah, if I look at the world as one big shul, Shabbos makes sense. Shabbos makes sense. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rested from building a Makom Avodah, and we rest from building a Mishkan, which is a Makom Avodah. But if I don't look at the world as a Makom Avodah, and Shemayim Ba'aretz has nothing to do then with the Mishkan, so what's the understanding of Shabbos? That's what he's saying here, Rav Hutner. וכאן נמצא לנו הצד המשותף בבניין מלאכת שמיים וארץ ובבניין משכן. כי בניין מלאכת שמיים וארץ יקום אז מקום עבודה על ידו כביכול, ועניין המשכן הוא יקום אז מקום עבודה על ידינו. But again, once you look at the world like that, so the world and the Mishkan are really the same. It's stuck in the Zelbazach. They're both a place of, how would you say it in English for word for avodah? There's a good word for it in English. Service? What? Servitude. Servitude. Yeah. Servitude. Yeah. Meaning, it's a place where you worship. Both are places of worship. The whole world is a Makom Avodah, and the Mishkan is a Makom Avodah. That's what you see. Okay, so B'mele, it really makes sense to compare these two. But a prerequisite, I got to look at the world, not as a place to, to bum around, but I look at the world as a Makom Avodah.
Why did you need both? If in fact the world is one big shul, why do you need the Mishkan?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
It's to remind us that the world is...
I don't know if it's to remind us. I guess, first of all, we have to do it. Meaning, it's our input. Because maybe that's how we reciprocate. Yeah, but Rav Noam's question is, if we already have a Makom Avodah in the world, what? You mean the Shekhinah should come down? Right. Okay, I'm sorry, I just have to... Yeah. Okay, it's a good kasha. It's a good kasha. I'm sorry? Different types of avodah, so it's different. It's not identical. Interesting. That's different shittas. Didn't mention this and that. Okay, Rabbi say. Fine. But it's correct to remember that the whole world is a Mishkan. Huh, Chavre? I thought the world is to make money. Again, you're allowed to. There's no issue to become rich. But remember what the focus is. The focus is all for the boss. Remember the title of Ruch HaMashen. That's how once you look at the world that way, so then the Mishkan and the world have a lot in common. And a Chinami. I'm sorry?
That means to say that today, we're not afraid to keep Shabbos, which is then Mishkan to build.
No, we're not allowed to do malachas of a Mishkan today. So, it's okay. The malachas came from the Mishkan. Right. Lamates malachas, that's what it means. Right. Oh boy, so here comes a big kasha in the Maral though. So Korban and Nisim has to reflect the Yisodis Oilam because the Mishkan is the Oilam. But the Korban and Nisim is already once the Mishkan's built. It's the inauguration of the Mishkan. The Mishkan's already built. How can you compare it to the Yeriyos, to the Krosim? Meaning, yes, the Mishkan is parallel to the world. That's the Chazal, and the Krosim, and the Kochavim, and the Yeriyos is compared to Shamayim. So whatever it takes to build a Mishkan is corresponding to the world. Got it. But the Korban and Nisim is already once the Mishkan's built. You have the Mishkan already standing. It's the first Korban in the Mishkan. That's also called, that has to have the elements of the world.
It's trying to accentuate what the Mishkan is standing.
Okay, this has to be explained. This has to be explained, L'chora. Because L'chora, in the Avodah Shitchis, Korban Nisim is the Mishkan's already built, and the first Korban in the built Mishkan is Korban Nisim. But the Maral is saying that the Korban Nisim has to reflect the Yisodis Oilam, because the Mishkan is equal to the Oilam. And the Korban Nisim has to reflect it as well. L'chora, the Korban Nisim is something that only comes after the Mishkan's built. Right? So it's a big kasha on the Maral's logic here. Nachon Chavre. I don't see the excitement. Huh? What's the Maral saying? The Mishkan, if the Yeriyos are parallel to the Shamayim, and the Krosim, the hooks, are parallel to the Kochavim, then I understand. That's building the Mishkan. Then I understand.
According to the Rebbe says that it's all avodah, then at the first chance of that avodah, that's mashlim it.
It's Mashlim? I don't know.
Now you've got the tafkid is that.
I don't know that. That's a little taking a step further. I hear. But Rabbi say, so let's go into this Nakuda. I want to just say a side here. The Korban and Nisim, it's really murdic things happening there. And let's maybe get a little bit of Havana of what Korban and Nisim is about.
Can I just ask as well, sorry, does anybody in Ma'ira why Rashi starts and you start?
Yeah. The Maral asks why did he say it only by the Sanal in the second one, and he says because he was the Baal Eitzah, that means he thought about it and he had all these machshavas.
So that's why Rashi tapped up.
Yeah. The Gra asks on the spot. Very good point.
But the Medrash Rabbah does the same for all this.
Right. But Rashi, we claim Rashi. How come Rashi said only the second one? Right. Very good. Now, basically, comes the Ramban. The Ramban is in Bax Hay, and he says, you see in English, cut and paste. You see it says number 3? The Mishkan is cut and paste of Matan Torah. That's the famous Ramban. Give a look at Bax Hay. What does the Ramban say? Soy the Mishkan hu sheyeh hakoved asher shochan al Har Sinai shochen olav b'nister. וכמו שנאמר שם, וישקול כבוד השם על הר סיני, וכסיב הן יראנו השם אלוקינו כבודו וסגודלוי, כן כוסו במשכן. וכבוד השם מולס המשכן. והזכיר במשכן 2 פעמים, וכבוד השם מולס המשכן, כנגד את כבודו ואת גודלו. והיה במשכן תמיד עם ישראל הכובד שנראה להם בהר סיני. ובבוא משה היה לו הדיבור כאשר נדבר לו בהר סיני. כמו שאמר במתן תורה, מן השמיים ישמעך את קולו ליעשרך, ועל הארץ ערך את אישו גדולה, כך במשכן כסיב, וישמע את הכל מדבר אליו מעל הכפורת, ואת 2 הקרובים, וידבר אליו. Says the Ramban, you know what the side of the Mishkan is? The Hemshech of Matan Sinai. You might have thought Maimon Asina was a one-off, a one event. It's constantly rolling with us through the Mishkan. You might have thought the Mishkan L'choy has to do with Avodah more than with Torah. Says the Ramban, the purpose of the Mishkan is, and I'm just quoting a part here, he goes and speaks much more about it, that the purpose of the Mishkan is to perpetuate Maimon Har Sinai. That's what it's about. And he shows the psukim that were said on one, or the psukim said by the other. And that's what it's about, to keep on Maimon Har Sinai. And the Mikdash as well, later on, but the Mishkan is Mamash Kacha, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu communed with Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, if I say, once we say this Yisoid, that the Mishkan is perpetuating Maimon Har Sinai, Matan Torah. Now, in Matan Torah, Maimon Har Sinai, there were two things, right? There was Koilos and Lapidim, the Esh G'dayla, a whole event, and that says the Dibros, right? Before we go back to the Mishkan, let's stop a second for there. What role did it play that grander, Esh for Koilos for Lapidim? What does that? Meaning, what my question is, I think we spoke about it throughout the years, but I got a few rise now. That yeah. What? Meaning when I'm coming la Fuke is, Rabbi say, lahavdil, $1 trillion havdalas. There's a big sport event in the world, and they have, by the Olympics, let's say, and they have a very big opening ceremony of what's going to happen there. There. What's that ceremony? Flowers, birds, dancing. Is that what they're going to do in the Olympics? No. So why is it there? It's not nothing to do with what's going to happen in the Olympics. With that Havana, a person may think, you get out the word Chas v'Shalom, then Matan Torah, in Maimon Har Sinai, there was a fire, there was an Esh, and there was an uncovered in Koilos, and there's nothing with Matan Torah, with the Torah that was given. It's a ceremony. A very impressive ceremony.
It's supposed to be the Olympics. It's supposed to be based on
What?
The Olympics based on the Greeks. The whole. That's why the ceremony is supposed to be the whole Greek.
Okay, and this before the Greeks, obviously. Matan Torah.
Yeah, I'm saying. But I'm saying the reason why the Olympics do the.
Oh, you'll give it out. Shkach for explaining Psalm the Olympics. Shkach. Thank you for giving a background what happens in the Olympics. But the idea is, there's a halacha built in this Chavah. Look at the Gemara in Maxvav. From the ceremony of Matan Torah. Tanya, V'odatam levanecha v'nivnei banecha. Uksiv batrei yom asher amata lifnei Hashem Elokecha b'chorev. Ma lahalan, when we stood b'chorev, be'emo, be'yiro, be'reses, u'be'zeh, we were trembling. Says Rashi, Uksiv bayara am v'yanu, af kan, be'emo, be'yiro, be'reses, u'be'zeh. מכאן אמרו הזובים המצוריים ובין על הנידויס מותרים ליקוס בתורם לבנים וקסורים נישס במישהו וגמור ומלאכס וקודש אבל בעלי קרן אסורים because they're not in the state of mind of Ema V'yira. Now what's the pasuk that Rashi is quoting that you see in Matan Torah that we were trembling? Here it's a back Zayin. וכל העם רואים את הקודש ואת הלפידים ואת כל השופר ואת הר השם וירא העם וינועו ויעמדו מרחוק. What was Am Yisrael afraid of? Look what it says. Does it say Shechina? כל העם רואים את הקולות ואת הלפידים ואת כל השם ואת הר השם. Right? That's the pasuk that Rashi is quoting. It says, ואם יוספים אנחנו לשמוע פן תאכלנו האש הגדולה. Right? When you're learning at home, is there an esh g'dola? So why should it be trembling? What's this for? You should be like a Matan Torah. In Matan Torah, were they trembling from the Torah Hashem? Or they were trembling from the Esh and the Koilos and the Lapidim? Okay, because I'm quoting the Pasuk of Rashi. Rashi quotes the Pasuk in the Gemara and Bak Zayin, that's the Pasuk. T'chsiv vayara am v'yanu. In Bak Zvav, Bak Zayin is the Pasuk in full. Right? So what does it say that they were afraid of? Koilos, Lapidim, Kol Shofar, Bahar Oshen. So how can you make a Gzera Sheva that when you learn Torah, you got to be in a state of mind of pachat like the Am Yisrael were in Matan Torah. But Am Yisrael in Matan Torah were afraid of the fire, the koilos, the lapidim. Do you have that when you learn at home? I hope not. I'm sorry? Okay, come on. So, okay, good. But this is big about that's Yonis ben Uziel. And it says koilos and lapidim and so on. Rabbi Yomin, that's all. It's not important, the Kudah now. We learn it from there, right? So what do you have to say, Chaveh? What do you have to say? What's the only answer to that, Kasha? Yes, Am Yisrael were trembling in Matan Torah. They were. They were in tremendous anxiety. Emes. But where did the anxiety come from? And that passage the Rashi quotes from the Kolis and the Lapidim and the Ashon. So why should you have it when you learn at home at 1 o'clock in the morning? Because the Kolis and the Lapidim were showing what Torah is. You know how come in the Maimon Asina there was Esh? Because the Torah is Esh. You know how come in Maimon Asina there was Koilis? Because the Torah is Koilis. Ba'araya, there's a yeshiva called Esh HaTorah. And there's a yeshiva called Kol Torah. We don't have a yeshiva called Lapidei Torah. Okay, Makom Yinichulot. Lapidei Torah. What happened in Matan Torah was that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed us once, in a tangible way, what Torah is about. So now when you're learning at home, you have to have the same feeling. Because what was revealed to us in Matan Torah is what Torah is about.
I think you have to be yeshiva should say duch the Torah.
I'm sorry?
The yeshiva should say duch the Torah, no?
What do you mean, duch? Duch means through the Torah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that whatever what happened in Mount Sinai is reflecting what Torah is. It's mirroring what Torah is. You know how come in Mount Sinai there was Esh? Because the Torah is Esh. And Rabbi Yisrael, the Maral says it's Meferish. In Baksched, give a look. And Tiferes Perek Lamed. Mipnei ke'atorah kol dvarei mechuyovim u'muchachim. Since in the Torah everything is a din, the kol davar shu muchach hu chazak, everything which is muchach meaning, what's the translation for muchach? What? Necessary. So therefore came with it things which are also powerful. כמו koilos sebrokim. שהדוימה ימושך אחר הדוימה. שאלו הקוילס ושהוא יזבח נוסן התורה לעמון, שנקראת התורה אויז. אויז means powerful. לפי שיש לתורה כוח ועוז. כדי שכל דבריה של תורה מחויבים. לקח נמשך אחר זה החוזק והכוח של koilos sebrokim. So says the Maral explicitly that the koilos and brokim that existed in Matan Torah, what are they? What are they, Chaveh? Reflecting what Torah is. Reflecting what Torah is. Torah is koilos. Torah is fire. Torah is brokim. The Maral says Meferish. So lahavdil, it's not like what I mentioned before, I don't want to repeat it now, that you have an open ceremony, and then you have what's going to happen, and there's no kesher between the ceremony, the opening ceremony, and what's going to happen. Zelo kacha. By Torah, what happened in Maimon Sinai put us in a state of mind, because that's what Torah is. So now, whenever you learn Torah, you have to be in that state of mind.
How can I recreate?
What?
How can I recreate? Well, if I light a candle, that's the issue.
No, but to remember that Torah is fire.
I know, but so when I'm sitting in my home,
Remember, you're learning something which is fire.
which is fire, doesn't mean I have to.
Okay, you don't have the semen to show it, but it's there. Okay.
How does it manifest itself?
You also have to mention HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So,
You also have to mention HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Elo guf, elo dmus haguf. One time, 3,335 years ago, HaKadosh Baruch Hu illustrated what Torah is. And now remember, that's what Torah is. Okay? So, boys, here comes the punchline of today, and I'm going to build it up. Yes, if you hear, here's the punchline. The punchline is, just like in Matan Torah, you had a Maimon Sinai, which reflects what Torah is about. Korban Nisim is reflecting what the Mishkan is about. I guess that's what we were saying before. since what happened in the Mishkan is a cut and paste of what happened in Har Sinai. That's the Ramban. In Har Sinai, there was this opening, whatever, which illustrates what it's about. Koilos and Shofar and Brakim and Anan Komed and everything. Similarly, also in the Mishkan you have, and the Korban and Nisim are playing the exact parallel role of Ma'amad Har Sinai. Meaning the Mishkan is Matan Torah, the Kodesh Baruch Hu speaks, Ben Akruvim and so on, like the Ramban says. But in Matan Torah there was also Kodesh Brakim. Matan Torah like sounds more than Aser Sadibris. The Kodesh Brakim is Ma'amad Har Sinai. Again, you don't have to. I'm just for clarity purposes saying it that way. Just like in Matan Torah, there was two. There was the Kodesh and the Brakim that reflected what the Torah is about. Similarly, in the Mishkan, the Korban Nisim is that first offering, and it's like the opening ceremony, so to speak, to what the Mishkan's about. Michal, this is Gewaldig. I see the faces. The faces are not b'diuk reflecting this nakuda. We're megala here what Korban Nisim is parallel to. Korban Nisim is parallel to the Koilos, Brakim, and Lapidim, and Esh. What were they in Matan Torah? Reflecting what Torah is about. What's Korban Nisim reflecting that? What the Mishkan's about. And since the Mishkan's connected the world, so the Korban Nisim has in it things which are connected Yisodis of the world. זה מה שיוצא פה. זה חידוש גוואלדיק. זה חידוש. זה לא רבי צחוק. זה תוצרת חוץ. זה מאנגליה.
That explains why Rashi cuts onto Noach. Because Noach is...
No, the Maharal says Adam, Noach.
Adam might mean Adam.
Yeah, because he said he's one of the foundations of the world. The Maharal doesn't differentiate. What?
Roughly what the Nisim would bring.
Yeah, the Karas Kesef came out to the years of the Mauritian, which are Yisoidis Ha'olam. That's what it says. Whatever was Yisoidis Ha'olam, that's what the Mishkan's about. So the Korban Nisim is reflecting the essence of the Mishkan. Shomim Chavre gives us a glimpse what Korban Nisim is doing here. It's Magbil, parallel to Ma'amad Har Sinai. Ma'amad Har Sinai. That's the chiddush that Minwal's coming out here. That's the only way to explain what the moral is. Rabbi said, I'll give you another example to this. The Torah Shemal Peh played a major role in Korban Nisim. Could anybody prove it to me? Let's read. There's a lot of proof for it. Give a look at Rabbi said, Bax Tet and Bax Yod. We're on page 2. Okay, let's give it up. Medrash Tanchuma, which is kedai to know. Medrash Tanchuma Ot Kaftes. Lo Yomar Adam, a person should not say, Eini Mikayim Mitzvah. I'm not listening to the rabbis. I don't want to listen to those rabbis. Ho'il beinam min Torah. It's not written in the Torah. I listen to what's in the Torah. What's ever written in the Torah, I'm going to listen to. What the rabbis added, I'm not so into. Says the Medrash don't say that. But Amar L'Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Banai, אין אתם רשאים לומר כך, you're not allowed to say that. אלא כל מה שגוזרים עליכם תהיו מקיימים. Whatever they decree upon you, you should fulfill. שנאמר ועשית על פי התורה אשר יראוך. למה? שאף על דבריהם אני מסכים. I agree to whatever the Chachamim say. תדע לך, look at the right that the Medrash brings. Where do you see that Kodesh Baruch Hu agrees to the Chachamim? תדע לך שהרי יעקב בשעה שברך מנשה ואפרים, when Yaakov blessed Menashe ואפרים, Maxim Sham, what's written there by Yosef es Ephraim lifnei Menashe, he placed Ephraim before Menashe. Asa Koton Kodem Lagodol, he made the younger one before the older one. V'kiyem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Gzerasai, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu fulfilled his Gzera. Mosai b'korbanos hanisim, sheikriv shevet Ephraim tchila, שנאמר ביום השביעי נשינו בני אפרים, ואחר כך מנשה. מניין? ממה שקורה בעניין, ביום השמיני נשיא לבני מנשה. Look at this unbelievable medrash. A person, you see this unbelievable medrash? A person should not say, I'm not listening to the rabbis. I'm just doing what's written in the book. Yes, the Baruch Hu says, whatever the rabbis say, I endorse and confirm. And what's the raya? Michal, what's the raya the Medrash brought? That Yaakov Avinu made Ephraim before Menashe, and we're looking now at Yaakov Avinu as one of the Chachamim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu followed suit. Where? In the Mishkan. Because that Rashi says in this Pasha, he dictated the order who will be on day 1, who will be on day 2, and Ephraim is before Menashe. And it has to be like 1 day before, because if it's like 5 days before, you could say Nispar the Chavila. They're not connected anymore. Then 1 day after another, Ephraim was first, and Menashe second. This is the source that HaKadosh Baruch Hu agrees to the Chachamim, which is the whole idea of Torah Sheba'al Peh. So in the Korban HaNisim itself, in the order of the Nisim, was brought out this Yisoid, Ham Gavaldik Torah Sheba'al Peh is. Right? That's what the Medrash says. Emes? Emes. Look at the Ramban. The Ramban says something similar on the Korban HaNisim. Bebakshiyot. In this week's Pasha, Chanchu HaNisim et HaMizbech v'chol haminim ha'kremim olav, al ken hiviu mincha u'ktoras v'oila v'chatas v'shlamim v'aktoras v'achotas ha'rasha she'inam ba'im b'nadava. And there were things there which did not usually come in Adava. The Nisim offered things which were ha'rasha. V'hinei Hashem ha'nichbad yiskim adas HaNisim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu agreed to what they're saying. V'tziva nasi echad liyom yakrivu. ולפיכך ייתכן שהיא מצווה לדורס. Meaning this will be happening, it happened 3 times afterwards. The Ramban is going to show this is what happened. There was Chanukas and Nisim in Bayis Rishon, in Bayis Sheni days of Ezra, and will be a Mitzvah in Bayis Shlishi. And Yechezkel, look what he concludes. 1 line before the end. והנה תהיה עניין זו המצווה כי הנה פרשת טמאים בפסח ופרשת בני יוסף צלופחד שהסכימה דעתם לדעת העליונה ונצטווינו בהם לדורס. You see what the Ramban says? That this started as a chidush of Torah Sheba'al Peh of the Nisim. And there were a lot of risky things that they said to do. To bring a Ktoris and a Chatas b'nadava. Usually you don't do it. Rashi points it out, or Rasha. And there were a lot of risky things in this Korban Nisim, but that's what their Das Torah dictated. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu agreed. And he said, first of all, he dictated the order. It says the Ramban, this is exactly parallel to Noso and to the Pesach Sheni. That they were mechamed to what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants.
You could say on Ephraim himself, because Ephraim is a Kalvan Yaakov important Shabbos. There was also a
What?
Ephraim, Nosi, and Shom Rabbeinu brought on Shabbos, which is also a Rosh Shabbos.
Yeah. Yeah, was it Shabbos? Yeah, you know for sure it was on Shabbos?
Yeah, so that the Medrash Rabbah brings.
The other was on Shabbos.
And
Okay.
he says that's why Yeshua did Yericho on the 7th day. The shame that Elishama ben Amihud was going for that. That's why.
No, that's the 7th day, it's written, but it's Shabbos. That's my
Yeah,
chiddush.
that's also
Yeah,
written.
because Bayim Hashmini was on Sunday.
Yeah, Shabbos.
And what? Okay?
Yeah. and
So it works out.
the Medrash says that Yeshua followed Elishama
Fine.
on Shabbos.
Fine.
A Rosh Hashanah.
Harasha. But Yeshua is also Harasha?
Yeah.
Okay, Gavaldik.
Same Medrash.
The Medrash says it. Peter Plain. Shkrech. Anyway, so what do you see, Rabbi say? Look what the Ramban says. The whole Korban Nisim was a Torah Sheba'al Peh thing. The whole idea of bringing Korban Nisim was a zach that they were mechamed adas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and now from now on it will be in Bayis Rishon, Bayis Sheni, and Bayis Shlishi. Mitzvah Shem b'meir b'yameinu. Rabbi say, I need faces that's responding to that. I don't know what's happening. This Ramban is Mordik. He's comparing to Bnot Tzlofchad at the Pesach Sheni. I mean, come on, guys. Not me, the Ramban. You know what I mean? Okay, Chabad.
Torah Sheba'al Peh, you can bring around Torah Sheba'al Peh before the Torah was given by Yaakov.
Yeah.
Torah Sheba'al Peh hadn't come down to the world.
It's not a kasha. It's not a kasha. What Yaakov Avinu was going to listen, the Medrash says it. Malasot. The Medrash says it. Black and white. So you can ask a kasha what the Medrash mean. But Abakach Katuv. That Al Yomar Adam, I'm not listening to the Chachamim because I'm look, I also was masking to Yaakov Avinu. Maybe the element of that whatever they say I agree to. That's the Nakuda. But I'll go upon him. What do you see? That the Torah Sheba'al Peh was the crux of all what's happening in Korban Nisim. The whole Korban itself, meaning the whole idea was Torah Sheba'al Peh, and then Mechamed Adat Shel Makam. And what the Medrash says that this is a mucker. What happened with the Ephraim and Menashe, not with all of them, with the Rabbi Menashe, that Kosh Baruch Hu agrees to the rabbis. What's the pshat? The Korban Nesim is so. Torah Sheba'al Peh is such a foundation in Korban Nesim. Ma pshat. In line of what we're learning though today, it's Gavaldik. Because what's Korban Nesim reflecting what the Mishkan's about? The whole Mishkan's about Torah Sheba'al Peh. I said this we learned a few times this year. Give a look at Max Yud Aleph. The matters that we learned this year a few times. יש לך מקח שמי שמוכנים כל אימוי, אומר הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל מאכלתי לכם תורוסי, כביכול נמכרתי אימא. What? The beginning of Parshas Truma. משל המלך שהיה לו בת יחידה, המלך had one only daughter, בא אחד מן המלכים לטולה, came a young king from a different kingdom and married her, ביקש לך לארצו ליטו לאשתו, the young king wants to go back to his country with his newlywed wife, אמר לו, ביתי שנשאת לך יחידיסי, that should be after the word he. It's a typo. Lifrosh mimena eini yochol. I can't separate from her. Lomar lecha titla eini yochol lefi sheishtecha. She's your wife. אלא זו תעשה לי שכל מקום שאתה הולך, כיתון אחד עשה לי שדור אצלכם. שאיני יכול להניח את ביתי. כך אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא ישראל, נתן לכם את התורה. לפרוש ממנה, to separate from self, איני יכול. לומר לכם אל תתלוה, איני יכול. אלא בכל מקום שאתם הולכים, בית אחד עשו לי שהדור בתוכו. שנאמר ועשו לי מקדש. So, because we have a Kadosh Baruch Hu's daughter, right? Kadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to go with you wherever you want. What's that Kadosh Baruch Hu's daughter representing? Torah. Torah. So because of the Torah, we have a Mishkan. The Maral points it out a few times. Give a look at Makshid Bet. בדרך חי פרק ג' בשבת כוסף, השכינה עם התורה ודוב הזה מבואר בתורה, כי תכף ומיד שניתנה תורה ליסוד, סימן לעשות המשכן. And he brings his medrash. וכן מתפעל סור, ושים התורה בכוסף, כי אין השכינה משרה רק בשביל כינוס להם התורה, ודוב הזה תמצא במדרש פרשת תרומה. Meaning the medrash of Parshas Truma is bringing out that because the Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah, there's a Mishkan. The daughter that's representing the Torah is Torah Shebeksav or Torah Sheba'al Peh? Think, Chevra. Tachshavu. Think about it. What does it mean? Okay, let's ask the Chevra in the back. Hey, guys in the back over there, what do you say? The daughter represents Torah Shebeksav or Torah Sheba'al Peh? Huh? For sure, Torah Sheba'al Peh. Why? We're speaking about a daughter that left her father's rishus and now she's in her husband's rishus. Isha b'shus baila. Which Torah now is in our authority? Torah Sheba'al Peh. Which Torah, so to speak, left HaKadosh Baruch Hu and it's not by him anymore? Torah Sheba'al Peh. Nitzchuni bonai, nitzchuni bonai. For sure, it's speaking about Torah Sheba'al Peh. We're speaking about a daughter that now, who's a wife of Am Yisrael. The Isha b'shus baila. So, meaning, it comes out, then why do we have the Mishkan? Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu, what did he do? He delegated authority and appointed up us over his daughter. So why do we have the Mishkan? Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu cannot forsake his daughter, because his daughter's not by him anymore. Who is the daughter by? Am Yisrael, that means Torah Sheba'al Peh. So the whole Mishkan is because we have authority over Torah Sheba'al Peh. Doesn't it make sense that the Torah Sheba'al Peh thing should be mentioned in Korban Nesim in a very strong way? Once we establish that the Korban Nesim is reflecting what the Mishkan's about, and the Mishkan is all about Torah Sheba'al Peh, so of course Korban Nesim will be intertwined with Torah Sheba'al Peh.
Why is the holiest part of the base of the mikdash where the Aron had?
Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I want to live next to you. Kiton echad asuli. That's the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is saying, make for me a room next to you. The room is Kodesh HaKadoshim. Your room is the Heichel, which is the menorah, which is Torah Sheba'al Peh. I'm not going to live with you. I'm not going to disturb the couple. I'm going to live next door. The Kiton echad is the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is dwelling there. We're not allowed to enter there only once a year. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is dwelling next to where the couple lives. And that's the Heichel. Is what? Shechina B'nei. Yeah, I don't think that's. What does that have to do? How does that check to what we're talking about? Okay, but look at this medrash. Kiton echad asili she'adur etzlechem. Etzlechem. She'ini yachol laniach b'hi. It's different, you know. Okay? Good. So I said, so it comes up very geschmack. Ari, you're feeling it, Ari? Yeah. That the Mishkan is built on the crux. What's the basis of the Mishkan? What's the Mishkan all about? What necessitated the Mishkan to be built? The Messiah of Torah Sheba'al Peh. That we own HaKadosh Baruch Hu's daughter. That we have the authority over HaKadosh Baruch Hu's daughter. So the Korban and the Nesim, which is reflecting what the Mishkan's about, the Torah Sheba'al Peh is going to be a big star there. Okay, I'm going to get the Yisurim Mechaprim, because I see people sleeping, faces, Ayin hair. It's Yisurim Mechaprim. Rabbi said, I worked on this yesterday. 8 hours. 8 hours. And now I see faces. Fine. Beseder. It's going to one day have Hashpah. Be'ez Hashem.
The Torah is the daughter.
Yes, the Torah Sheba'al Peh is the daughter.
Torah Sheba'al Peh. And the Torah is the daughter which he authored.
What?
I'm struggling with the idea that the Torah is the daughter. Torah Sheba'al Peh is the daughter.
We're speaking about, yes, the interpretation of the Torah is called Torah Sheba'al Peh, and that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave over to us.
The Torah itself is authored by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How can it be? I'm saying
Because the authority, we're speaking about the authority. The authority of interpreting the Torah was given to Am Yisrael. The famous Gemara about Mitzvah, Nitzchuni Bonai, Nitzchuni Bonai. Okay? Rabbi said, look at the Akdama of the Ktsois in Bakshit Gimel. The Ktsois, the Babus the Ktsois. Look what he says.
Sure. So he said that the Messiah, what they brought, represented the mind of Har Sinai. That's what we said before, yeah?
No, it's parallel.
Parallel.
Parallel. Meaning,
I was saying that it's
no, you'll see, please, Ari, please understand. I'm not saying it's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, just like the Torah had an introduction which reflects what it's about, also the Mishkan has an introduction which reflects what it's about. That's the only comparison to Har Sinai. That's all. Just like in the Torah itself, Har Sinai, there was an introduction, Kodesh Lapidim, which reflect what Torah is about. Similarly, in the Mishkan, there was an introduction which reflects what the Mishkan's about. That's what I said. Yeah, it's Gavaldik. Rabbi said, look at that Akdama of the Ktsois. בזה שאנו מברכים שנוסנו לתרס אמס, שיהיה האמס איתנו, ושם התורה אם אין אמס, יזיקה שם מבינת מחמת את האמס, it's wrong, לזה אנו מברכים בחיי אוילם ולא תבשרנו, ומתוכנו יפרה וירבה חיי אוילם. וכבר אמרו לקורס הקדוש ברוך הוא בריס עם ישראל בשביל תורה שבעל פה, והוא כריתת ברית ואהבה הנפלא שנתן לנו תורה שבעל פה במתון הגמורה. Mimid b'matona kefi achros chachamim. Whatever the chachamim say, that's how it goes. V'omu b'shas Torah ruba ba'al peh u'miyuta b'chtav, shenemar posek in Hosea, ech tov lehem v'ot torasi kumo zal nechshavu. V'hainu, de'im haya kol b'chtav met Hashem aleinu iskir. If everything would have been written, anachnu kumo zal nechshavu, then we would have been a bunch of strangers. Ki ma l'sechel enushi lavim b'toras Hashem, aval Torah sheba'al peh mishelanu hi. The Ktsois says, bring out this Nakuda. The Torah Sheba'al never left the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's still his. What is ours? Torah Sheba'al Peh. And even if we make a mistake, that's what it is. I'm just bringing from the Ktsois this Yisai. So the Mishkan came to the world because of Torah Sheba'al Peh was given to Am Yisrael, and the Nesim are reflecting what the Mishkan's about. So therefore, Torah Sheba'al Peh will be a very major theme in Korban HaNesim. Capisco? Yeah? Okay. Now, Rabbi say, I want to show just another Nakuda here. Maybe this is what Yosef was touching on before. Well, listen, what's called Torah Sheba'al Peh? Torah Sheba'al and Torah Sheba'al Peh. Torah Sheba'al, what's written in the scroll, in the Chamishim Shner, when you say Hallelujah, fine. And what's the Torah Sheba'al Peh? The interpretation of Torah Sheba'al, right? Right. That's what the Rambam says. Nagdom at the Yad Chazaka. Upirusha zeu Torah Sheba'al Peh. The interpretation. Now, first, I just want to point out to you, and like mentioned here before by Ben Yamin, a very good point. In the Kodesh HaKadoshim was Torah Sheba'al. The Luchos and the Sefer Torah, that was in Torah. That was in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. And the Heichal is Torah Sheba'al Peh. What do I mean? The menorah. The menorah is representing Torah Sheba'al Peh. That's come the next of Chanukah happened with the menorah. Kayadua. What I would like to offer to the Jewish people is that Torah Sheba'al is number 8, and Torah Sheba'al Peh is number 7. And I'll prove it to you. The Kodesh HaKadoshim that has in the Torah Sheba'al, there were 8 hazors there. Achas lamala v'sheva lamata. And the Heichal throughout the year, on the Purim and Nisrafim and Sira and Nisrafim, it says in Parshas Vayikra, Sheva Pamim. That Maral points out in Bakshir Dalet. Give a look. Kol ha'azorot she'u b'yom ha'kippurim lifnai v'lifnim hayu shmoina. Achas lamala v'sheva lamata. וזה כי אחס למעלה היא כנגד המדרגה שהיא על הטבע, שהיא למעלה, ושבע למטה שכנגד הטבע. וזה כי כאשר נכנס לפעמים ולפעמים ודובר זה ביום הכיפורים, אשר היה לו עינוי הנפש, הוא עשור את הגוף, he's entering a מחיצה which is totally beyond us, and therefore there were 8. ושאר הזוהס, של פורים נשרפים וסירים נשרפים, הם 7 בלבד. So that happened in the Heichal. That the Kodesh HaKadoshim is number 8, and that the Heichal is number 7, is the relationship of Torah Shabbat and Torah Sheba'al Peh. Because inside the Kodesh HaKadoshim is Torah Shabbat only, like Rabbi Yomi pointed out before, and in the Heichal is the menorah. And how many kanim did the menorah have? 7, right? So I want to build here that 8 is Torah Shabbat and 7 is Torah Sheba'al Peh, right? Okay, and there's the following boxes just prove it. Okay, the Maharal's in a few places. You have a look at what I say in Bakshitet. And this is for those who like Kabbalah, mystical stuff. What does it say in Bakshitet? Search Torah Shabbat Hu Bina. B'nei B'nina Yimei Shmoina. V'Torah Shabbat Hu B'chinas Malchus. Hakim Lana Roy Shiva. Okay, so without going to anything, everybody knows this. Bina is 8. When you count from the bottom to the top, Bina is number 8. Malchus, once you count from Chesed downwards, it's number 7. This every girl today in Beis Yaakov knows. I'm not Megala any this. But I'm learning from the Kiddush Yaakov that this Nakuda is. So, what's the relationship of Torah Shabbat and Torah Sheba'al Peh? The relationship number 7 and 8. Ephraim is what Yaakov Avinu was Mechadash, he should come first. And Menashe will be afterwards. What day was Ephraim on? And what day? The Yom HaShvi. And what day was Menashe on? And Yom HaShvi. They could have been 2 and 3. If you want to show that Yaakov Avinu got his way, it could have been number 2 and 3. The main thing is Ephraim comes before Menashe. It could have been number 10 and 11. Or 11 and 12. It's number 7 and 8. But Yom HaShvi was Ephraim. But Yom HaShvi is Menashe. So anybody who stood in Har Sinai feels, hey, this is really groovy. To be honest, you feel it? 7 and 8. Fine. So I just want to bring out, in Korban and Nisim, you had, what did you have? You can't have Torah Sheba'al Peh without Torah Shabbat. Because what's Torah Sheba'al Peh? Interpreting Torah Shabbat. But just bringing out the idea that there's Torah Sheba'al Peh, which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave to us. That's what I want to bring out here. And I want to say that that's what the Maral means in Rosh Shabbos HaGadol, which is brought down in Pax Chav. Yes. So now we're going to Chait 4, and I have to finish on time, because even though Maral is 10:05, but if I go 10:02, people will get very upset. By the way, we didn't start exactly on time. That's the different Nakuda. But we got to finish. B'diuk on time.
Didn't recently say the Ram from the Maral and their mitzvah about 7 and 8?
Yeah. Ankor Kashu. That the 7 candles of the menorah lit for 8 days. All that. Nachon. Okay, Rabbi Yisrael. So I just want to bring out that there's another Nakuda in Korban and Nisim, which is revealing Torah Sheba'al Peh, because Ephraim was placed at number 7 before number 8, which again is showing the union of Torah Sheba'al Peh with its relationship to Torah Shabbat. Beseder? Rabbi Yisrael, the last page for today, on page 4, which is letter Hey, is there's something more here. In the creation of the world, there was 2 phases, right? B'tchila, there was din, and then the Maral says in Drush al Torah a gewaldige insight. That how come Moshe Rabbeinu initially? Where did Yisro get the idea that you should have dayanim, and many of them? Because the chud as far as Moshe Rabbeinu should be the only dayan, because he's the only one that really knows what he's talking about. And the din is Moshe Rabbeinu. You call Badin Tahar, the Gemara, right? But Yisro said to himself, just like the world was created initially with din, but then HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw it won't work, and it was mitzaref to it rachmim. Similarly, one dayan Moshe Rabbeinu won't work. Nabalti and therefore he said, let's mitzaref other dayanim, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mitzaref midas harachim to midas adin. That's what the Maral says in Bach's Kabet. You know, I wish I came out with a Sefer Drush Torah before Shavuos. I got 4 responses, meanwhile, in the email, all focusing on this Maral. How meritic insight it is. Someone said, I got 4 people saying, this idiom of comparing Yisroi and Moshe to Allah B'tchila Midas Adin, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu was expanding it to Midas Harachim. That's exactly what's happening with Yisroi. It's meritic. That's a Maral. That's a Maral. You got to be a Maral to say something like that. That's what appears in Bach's Kabet. The what? Moshe Rabbeinu, it can't be only him, that's din, but din can't work. You have to add. Mitigating, when you make it a little bit lighter. Mitigating pieces also. Because the din on its own doesn't work. If there's 2 stages in the Bria, of din and then tziref, where are those 2 stages in the Mishkan? Or in Matan Torah, and the Mishkan's reflect. We see the Mishkan has 2 dinim. The Mishkan is cut and paste in Matan Torah. That's what the Rambam pointed out, and it's reflecting the Bria. Whatever happened in the Bria is also in the Mishkan. In the Bria, you have this double stage. Do you have a parallel of that in the Torah?
Salel and Achisamot, they came from Yehuda and John.
Maybe. You could say that. You could say that. But I would humbly like to suggest, Rabbi Zai, Torah Shebeksav is din, and Torah Shebal Peh is Rachmim. Where did I get it from? Give a look, Rabbi Zai, and Bach's Kav Gimel. The Tzaddik HaKohen says, Ano only Torah Shebeksav Mesitra de Gvura, but Torah Shebal Peh, Torah is Chesed. You see, Rabbi Zai? The Yisrach Moshe, we're in a Hasidic place, so let's say the Yisrach Moshe. In Pashas Goshim, look what he says. המבוא בכיס והאריזה, תתורא שבכתב הוא דין, ושבעל פה הוא רחמים, ולכן כפי הכוסף והחומרה, והוא כפי שוס הדין הגמור, אבל תורא שבעל פה מצד רחמים. Look at Max Cafe, again the Yisrach Moshe. ידוע תתורא שבכתב הוא דין, על כן אין ללמוד בלילה. תורא שבכתב הוא דין, don't learn it at night. ושבעל פה הוא רחמים, מזה טובין עין תחס עין, ממון. וכושר למה לא כתב התורה בפירוש? לפי מה שכתבתי אל תשפר. כי שוקוס הדין הוא עין ממש, it should have been the real eye. בעל פה, מייקה מצד הרחמים, אבל כן לא נכתב בפירוש. These are more than Yisoidis, guys. Be'emes, these are more than Yisoidis to know. Torah Shebeksav is din, Torah Shebal Peh is rachmim. The initial mahalach in Luchas Rishonis was that everything should be in Ksav. That's the Beis Halevi in Max Kavav. He proves it's in Drushit Ches. And he proves that initially the mahalach was everything should be B'Ksav. And Ksav's din. But it didn't work. Now comes Torah Shebal Peh. The same process that the world went through, the beginning din, and it didn't work, and then comes Rachmim. That's exactly what Torah went through. That you have Torah Shebeksav, initially Baluchas Rishonis was to be only Torah Shebeksav. That's the base of the lady. They were broken, and came Luchas Shnias, and that's when the Mishkan started. So the Mishkan has to have this element of Torah Shebal Peh, because the Mishkan is the Hemshech of Luchas Shnias, which was B'tchila B'din, V'sof Ola, Niposim Mizrachim.
So you're saying there'll be no parish on the first two?
What?
There'll be no parish on the first two, you're saying?
What do you mean first two?
The first two Luchos.
Everything was written.
Everything was written?
Everything, and the whole parish was written. I feel much Tamid Vosikas L'Chadesh.
Right.
Everything was written. Beis Levi proves it.
But once it was smashed, the second set alarm came along, and that's when...
And that became Baal Peh. That's what it says. What? So in the first Luchas, it wasn't Nogah. Everything was written already. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave everything. Okay, so that's a big chiddush, but maybe you'll go over this shit, Chavre. You'll go over it again. And today was gewaldic. Everybody was so into it. It was Pile Ploim. Esh. Who mentioned the word? Yonas Ben Azil of Porach. Fire. You know, they say, what's the difference between a chassid and a litvak? When they learned the Gemara in Sukkah, that a bird went by and it got burned from the ash. So what's the chassid going to say? Ah, building. Look at the kedusha. A fire burns a bird. And what would the Litva say? Is he chayv als ish, or is he chayv als adam mazik? He has to pay for the bird. What sh'nimut does he have to pay for the bird? Yeah, that's what they say. So anyway, so today was a Geshmak and a Sayan, and good. But don't worry, Rabbi say, maybe because we had a 2-week break, even though after Matan Torah, the Emes, there's supposed to be an abundance of Torah. That's like they say the biggest parasha after Matan Torah is Noso. And then the Medrash Rabbah and Pashas Noso is endless. So this first ever said that. After Matan Torah, there's an abundance of Torah. So it's going to be here also in Mitzvah Hashem, hopefully. In Mitzvah Hashem, we should all be Zoiche for Ribui of Torah. You can take this sheet with you, Chavre. Go over it. It's just that the hair in Korban and Nisim that's reflecting what the... Look at the headline, guys. And with this, we'll finish. Shaychut Korban and Nisim la Mishkan le Torah v'la Olam. The Mishkan is... That's reflecting what the Mishkan's all about. It's the Torah because the Mishkan's about what the Torah is about, and the Olam, that the Mishkan's a small miniature of the world. So all that and more. There's a lot more to go. But a few years today, we learned that Torah's din, Torah Shmalpez Rachmim, Torah Shebeksav Bina, Torah Shmalpez Malchus. These are big Yisodis, Chavah.
You don't learn Torah Shabbat at night. You can't learn.
It says you should say Tehillim whenever at night. It says so. Again, if it's Allah and the Shulchan, I don't know. But you heard it, right? That you don't say Torah Shebeksav at night.
You guys got the Tanchum and Parshas Noach.
Yeah, but the Chumash Parshas Noach. Let me give them a Torah Shebeksav and Torah Shmalpeh. The Torah Shmalpeh you learn at nights, yes. That's right. Nachon. Rabbi says, so when's Barak downstairs? 10:05. No, I don't know if you have a man. Rabbi says, so I finished at 10:03. Is anybody very upset?